Hey guys, ShwaNerd just posted a video about Christianity and morality. If you want to see the whole video, I'll put a link down in the more info section. But let's start off with looking at his view of divine command theory.
I didn't like the idea of authoritative, this is what's right and wrong just by fiat, just because he says so.
The idea that God can arbitrarily command something and it will become moral is a specific type of divine command theory called voluntarism. Now, I'm not a voluntarist, and neither are most people. Even among divine command theorists, voluntarism is still a minority position. Now, almost every time divine command theory is critiqued, people start actually critiquing voluntarism, which is unfortunate because people are then led to misunderstand what the majority of Christians actually believe. But yeah, I'm right there with you. There's nothing about what God arbitrarily commands that makes it moral. You can't derive what is good just because God says so. Now, I'll have a video up sometime where I talk about divine command theory and its different forms. So back to you.
I said, I believe that, there needs to be a justification for why something is right or wrong.
Well, I agree. So what is your valid justification? Next, he goes on to explain what his source of morality is.
I tried to talk about, wanting to, having that desire to raise the level of well-being and happiness in the world for all human beings.
What you desire alone can never tell you what is right. Ted Bundy's greatest desire could have been to rape people. That wouldn't make it right. As humans, it is not always our primary desire to maximize happiness for everybody. In fact, we have many conflicting desires. It's not the desires themselves which tell us what is right. This is where our conscience or moral sense comes in. It tells us what is right regardless of what we actually desire. The mere fact that we can desire things which are immoral tells us that the source of our morality cannot be our desires. C.S. Lewis has a really witty analogy that I think explains this point well. He asks us to think of our desires like keys on a keyboard, and to think of our conscience like the sheet music. It is the sheet music which tells us the right keys to play. Back to him.
I do believe that there are right and wrong answers to moral questions.
Well, we do agree on something.
In the very least, to varying degrees, you can come up with a system for measuring when an action is more moral or, more just, more good, and when an action is more evil. And the basis for this is which causes, more happiness and which causes more suffering.
And now we're back to disagreeing. I'm going to counter this with a hybrid version of J.E. Moore's open question argument. Now, if you're going to say that good means maximizing happiness, then it must also be true that everything which maximizes happiness is good. So I'm going to be attempting to show that something which maximizes happiness is intuitively immoral. Now, I already used this example once before, so bear with me. Imagine that you have 5 generous CEOs with large, loving families, and that all of these CEOs are in desperate need of an organ transplant. And now imagine that you, the doctor, have come across a homeless person who is on welfare, has no family, and has a great set of organs. Now, if you could secretly kill the homeless man and harvest his organs to save the lives of the 5 generous CEOs, then you would be maximizing happiness. The only problem is that murdering an innocent man seems intuitively immoral. Now, I'm sure you could come up with other analogies like that, but the point is that we have no reason to think that maximizing happiness is always equivalent with good, and we have some reason to think that the two are not always equivalent.
This whole idea you might already be thinking of is reminiscent of Sam Harris's idea of the moral landscape.
I'll have a review up as soon as I can. As always, test everything, hold on to the good.